Well, as we mentioned at the top of the program, Christine O'Donnell's firing back against accusations she's misused campaign funds. The watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington has filed complaints with both the Federal Election Commission and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware, alleging that O'Donnell used campaign money to pay her personal expenses. The executive director of the group, Melanie Sloan, has flat out called Christine O'Donnell a criminal who should be prosecuted. O'Donnell's attorney is now threatening to sue Sloan.
I've looked at what Ms. Melanie Sloan has filed, and what she is saying is untrue. She has libeled Christine O'Donnell. We're looking into that because she has committed libel per se, slander per se, by calling my client names. I am the counsel to the campaign, and I've looked at lots of campaign FEC reports, and the things that she's saying simply are not true.
Well, Melanie Sloan is back with us tonight. Melanie, so what about that? Ms. Mitchell is not parsing her words, accusing you of slander and libel. What's your response?
I say that Ms. Mitchell needs to go back and hit the law books. Christine O'Donnell is a public figure, and we've said nothing but the truth about Christine O'Donnell. Cleta Mitchell and Christine O'Donnell would have to prove that Crew acted with reckless disregard for the truth at the very least, and we've only spoken the truth, as anybody who goes through Ms. O'Donnell's campaign finance forms can clearly see. We're very comfortable with where we stand.
I want to play you something else that Ms. Mitchell had to say.
Crew is a left-wing, George Soros-funded liberal group that gets its donations because it goes after Republicans and conservatives. That's what Melanie Sloan does. She should not have a tax-exempt organization. She should lose her tax-exempt status because of the way that she interferes and intervenes in partisan campaign activities.
I mean, what about that? George Soros-funded liberal left-leaning group.
Crew is not a left-leaning group. Crew takes all comers. We go after Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives. We go after public officials and candidates who do the wrong thing. We're about right and wrong, not Democrat,
Funded by
Republican.
George Soros?
Indeed, the Open Society Institute, which gets its money from George Soros, has indeed given us money. But if Soros gives money to us because he thinks we only go after Republicans, then I guess he's sadly disappointed by all of the actions we've taken against so many Democrats, including Eddie Bernice Johnson, who I've been on your show discussing, Charlie Rangel, Maxine Waters, and a whole host of others. Crew is strictly nonpartisan.
But plenty of Republicans are going to see this and say, well, look, or you know, a lot of people are going to see this no matter what side of the aisle they're on and say, look, you're saying Christine O'Donnell's guilty of this, wasn't she just as guilty a few weeks ago, and you didn't raise this up in, prior in the campaign? It's only now that it's in the final weeks of the campaign. You could have even waited until after the election, and once the American people had decided, and then bring up these allegations. I mean, because these allegations can't be proven or disproven in this short amount of time, by officials.
Well, I understand you asked earlier if it was fair to bring this up, and of course it's fair. Character is a critical issue to American voters when they're considering candidates at the polls, and when there are issues that reflect upon a candidate's honesty and integrity, we have a right to raise those questions, and a candidate should answer them. And instead, Christine O'Donnell's refusing to answer any questions at all about these kind of issues when it's reporters for your show who confront her or any other media. Instead, she just says she's ethical, you can't question her. I think voters want to know how Ms. O'Donnell can explain living off her campaign funds for so many years and basically stealing supporters' money.
We also had a woman from the Tea Party group on last night who said that she had looked through the people who were running your organization, and they basically were all Democrats or people who had experience in Democratic politics, that you don't have Republicans, and so how can you really say you're nonpartisan?
The people who work for Crew are nonpartisan. I've also been a federal prosecutor. That's not a partisan position. I think Crew's record speaks for itself. We go after all comers. It doesn't matter. It's about right and wrong, not Democrat or Republican.
Melanie Sloan, appreciate your time.